I'm Heather Burke. I'm the director of the Center for Aquaculture and Seafood Development at the Fisheries and Marine Institute, and I'm co-hosting the first ever Seafood Industry Innovation Summit that we'll be hosting here at the Marine Institute in November of 2023.
Keith Hutchings, Managing Director of the Canadian Centre for Fisheries Innovation. We've been around for approximately 30 years, and we deal with industry, the wild harvest, the aquaculture industry, and the processing sector. And we deal with industry in terms of being nimble and able to react quickly to industry issues or problems that arise, or technology adaptation that's required to solve particular issues in the industry at any one time.
Just looking at some of the themes that the summit has. Automation. What do you see in terms of what the discussions around automation? Anything in particular like to highlight?
Well, it's an interesting concept you suggest, because I've had this conversation with Heather before and talked about, the fishing industry and innovation and technology and the adaptation that's gone over 30 years. I often say we don't celebrate that. It's not really recognized in the fishing industry. People have a view sometimes of the fishing industry and what it is. The fishing industry of today and in past decades is a global industry. Newfoundland, in terms of what it produces, Atlantic Canada, in terms of what's produced, is quite significant in the global market. But that global market has changed. And, the idea of sustainability, of the environmental conditions, of good stewardship, all of those are part of the industry today and will be going forward. And obviously, from a commercial perspective, it's about the business model. Investment, business owners, they certainly need to have a return on their investment. And they're, first and foremost, they want to see a sustainable industry. And, this summit brings together some of those leaders, all of those leaders, we hope, to talk about, the automation you referenced and how, we adopt leading edge technology that allows us to support the industry and continue to make it sustainable and profitable for those that are engaged in the industry, which is extremely important. And that technology comes from various jurisdictions. We develop it here. CCFI, in conjunction with the Marine Institute, has developed its own sea cucumber processing machine. We've also worked on crab robotics in terms of developing it here at the institution, but as well, we've worked with countries like Norway in terms of adopting technology related to sea urchins on the seabed and extracting sea urchins from the latest technology. So our interaction is broad, our expertise is immense, and there's great opportunities to continue. And this session, this summit, allows us to engage with industry to build on what we have to date.
Heather, I'm going to switch over to you. We just talked about automation as one of the themes. Digitization. Tell us a little bit about what you know and what you hope to learn and present at the summit about that.
I hope to learn a lot about it myself, actually, because I'm not, I wouldn't consider myself up on digitization technologies, but it is being used more and more in the processing sector. We can learn things from the automotive industry, that can be applied to the seafood sector. We do have one group that will be doing a workshop on digitization. They'll be using it to demonstrate traceability technology for the seafood sector and how that can help improve efficiencies, food safety, and those types of applications. With respect to artificial intelligence, I mean, that can be incorporated into a lot of technologies for actually processing seafood. Keith mentioned some of the robotics and automation that's been developed here at the Marine Institute with the Canadian Centre for Fisheries Innovation. There are even newer technologies out there now that can allow us to learn more about how we can enhance what we've already developed here at the MI. So there's new gripping technology as an example. So some of the early robotics work that we worked on, gripping technology wasn't available at that time. So new grippers so that you can actually handle a fish. I mean, fish are fairly slippery to handle. So trying to train a robot how to do that requires quite a lot of technology, a lot of development work. So we're hoping to learn more about those types of applications and how we might be able to incorporate that into some of the work that we're doing jointly here at the Marine Institute and the Canadian Centre for Fisheries Innovation.
Very interesting, Heather. Very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, like even you both are excited to learn more. There's so much to learn about this industry. Keith, I'm going to throw it back to you. The third and final theme is by-product valorization. That's not a word that I'm that familiar with. Tell us a little bit about leveraging side streams to achieve full utilization and value maximization.
Yeah, today the term is often used as a circular economy where, all resources maximize and is reverted back to further use. So nothing is lost in terms of the process of harvesting a resource and what's extracted from it. Heather's center has done tremendous work over the years in terms of evaluating and assessing, the value of product that's produced today. Simply something as a cod, if a processor is, buying a cod from a harvester for a certain value, or whether it's crab, oftentimes that full value, and it is, the full value is not totally being used in terms of the volume of that species that's caught. Cod could be 40% with fillets. Crab could be 40%, could be lost. Sea cucumbers certainly with the water content and other aspects of it that are not processed today or used for other utilization. That's a cost that's incurred and lost to the actual producer and the investor, but it's also a value based on the content of that species and what it could be used for. That's not used either. So, we look at areas like pharmaceuticals, pet food, various aspects of healthcare that research is being done on various products, and Heather is very knowledgeable in these areas. Collagen from cod. A variety of aspects that can be used, which is extremely important, from a pharmaceutical perspective, from a healthcare perspective. So how do we fully utilize that species that's landed? And, we've seen examples of that certainly here with efforts being done with seal, in terms of seal oil as an example, and other attributes that are retained from that species as harvested that may not have been done before. But globally, it's needed. And, we look at areas like Iceland, who are highly concentrated in utilization, 100% utilization. But I think industry is there now, but it's just a matter of putting that runway in and that platform and having that knowledge to explore with them, and certainly increase the value today of what it is that's being harvested. And then that value goes through the total supply chain. Everybody gets a return based on that extended utilization, which is very important. I just wanted, Jerry, if I could go back and I know you spoke of artificial intelligence, and Heather mentioned as well the excitement about coming together and actually having further insight and discussion about that. CCFI, interesting, over the past year has had 2 projects related to artificial intelligence, one related to developing a predictive biomass model for the shrimp industry, looking at massive amount of data that's being collected and is being collected today, and able to synthesize that and break it out to actually use all of that data, which would probably take years for humans to do, to try and come up with a model that greater predicts the biomass for shrimp up north, down the northeast coast of Newfoundland, that the industry can use, and certainly ties to the sustainability, and work with DFO in terms of we have greater insight into the resource, how it responds to very climatic changes, how it's fished, when it's fished. All of that is very valuable, and you look at resource management, and artificial intelligence is being used for that. The other one we're looking at, and Heather mentioned that, is in regard to automation. How do we basically look at the various conditions through cameras or other digitalization when it's being processed, and how do we quickly turn that around to make key decisions on how that product is further processed? And so those are exciting areas. And as Heather said, we're very interested to hear from processors where we are today. Are they using artificial intelligence? Do they understand it? Is there new ways that they can think about how we can use it? And all that is collectively is going to be a great discussion and insight into going ahead in the years coming.